On today's episode, we have our Week 7 rankings, but it is our 100th episode. You heard it here from these two amazing partners, my co-hosts, just some of my best friends in the world. I'm going to get emotional thinking about it, but I love this project. I love doing this 3 times a week. I love being a giant nerd. I love doing this with some of my best friends, and I love doing it with you, our followers, our subscribers, the people that listen. You guys have no idea how much joy and happiness this project, Talking Ball, has meant to me and how much purpose it's given in my life. So thank you, everybody. We are small potatoes. We are like we're a drop in the ocean.
Shoestring fries right now.
We are so tiny. We're a blip on the radar. Everyone that's involved with us now, you have no idea how much this means to us, seriously. Like the fact that you want to spend an hour to 3 hours of your life with us every single week while we make vague sexual references to regress in our means and we dunk on each other about spoiled milk. It's insane. But thank you. Thank you for being a part of it. We really, and thank you too for just being the best to work with. So 100 episodes, guys. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling sweaty. It wouldn't be a recording without me being a little sweaty, but we've got
the podcast sweat.
And I've got a little glass to celebrate. We have our Week 7 rankings. We've got to sort through 6 teams on a bye this week. We got to deal with some pretty bad running back injuries. Our format here is simple. I have ranked the top 42 running backs this week, and I've broken them into tiers. As I go through each running back, Keegan and Aidan are going to give their thoughts on some of the guys they are starting or avoiding this week. Feel free to drop your start-sit questions in the comments, and you can find the link to our rankings in the description of this video below. But before diving in, we want to thank you for supporting the Regression to the Mean podcast. We appreciate you listening and being a part of the Mean team. If you haven't had a chance, we'd really love it if you could go ahead and hit the subscribe button, like this video, and drop any of your questions in the comments below. We are marching towards our goal of 1,000 subscribers before the end of the season, and we appreciate you tagging along. Aidan, Keegan, you ready to do this?
Let's rock and roll.
Let's share the screen. And then if you want to know about wide receivers this week, you can reference our feed. We have plenty of information here on wide receivers as well. So starting things off, I'm going to go through the top 10 plays at running back here, give my thoughts on each matchup, and these guys are going to give their thoughts as well. So the number 1 play at running back this week, Austin Ekeler. Number 2, Kenneth Walker. Number 3, Josh Jacobs. Number 4, Saquon Barkley. Number 5, DeAndre Swift. Number 6, Travis Etienne. Number 7, Aaron Jones. Number 8, Alvin Kamara. Number 9, Raheem Mostert. Number 10, Bijan Robinson. So Austin Ekeler, KC's been pretty good against the run, but he has elite volume in the pass and run game. Kenneth Walker, this is probably the highest Kenneth Walker's ever been ranked as a starter. Arizona's run defense is awful, and K9's volume and efficiency are top tier. Josh Jacobs at running back 3, no competition for touches. He's in a positive game script against a bad run defense. I'm sorry, Aidan. I'm sorry. It's just the truth. It's just the truth, Aidan. Running back 4
good,
here
man. We're tanking.
is Saquon Barkley matching up against the Washington defense. Out of this group of 10, Saquon is by far and away the most aggressive player that I have ranked. I have him 5 spots ahead of expert consensus ranking. He has the highest expected fantasy points. He had the highest expected fantasy points in Week 6 coming off a high ankle sprain. I expect him to be healthier, and I expect him to get an absurd amount of touches and volume against an average run defense. Coming in at 5, DeAndre Swift, -2 against expert consensus rankings. Don't look now, but DeAndre Swift has a 12% target share. I thought mobile quarterbacks don't target running backs, right? I thought they don't do that, right? What if they're actually worth targeting, unlike Miles Dustball Sanders? The game environment calls for a shout out.
Stray.
I'm sweating. I'm a little, tipsy. I'm throwing strays to Miles Sanders. Miami is beatable on the ground. I like DeAndre Swift this week as a top 5 play. Travis Etienne at 6. Aaron Jones at 7. So this is another one that I have super high against expert consensus rankings. He's healthy. He's coming out of a bye, and he's going up against by far and away the worst rush defense in the NFL in the Denver Broncos. Wheels up for Aaron Jones. Alvin Kamara here at 8. The PPR merchant. Number 9, I have Raheem Mostert. So Raheem Mostert's been the best pick in fantasy so far this year. I expect Jeff Wilson to get some carries and eat into some of his, attempt share, but he's locked and loaded RB1 facing off against the rush defense. That's really been hard to go up against. They smother running backs. So he has really good usage, really good efficiency. The game script and pass work may help him hit home, but it's a tough matchup. And then I have Bijan here at number 10 against Tampa Bay. So he has top 10 fantasy usage, even with splitting goal line carries with Algier. He has a 15% target share. This is the stuff dreams are made of. It's a tough matchup against Tampa Bay, though. So I'll take a pause here. Those are the top 10. Any thoughts, gentlemen?
I've got one I really like and one that I'm a little skeptical on. Keegan, how many you got in here before should I go over both of mine?
I don't have, there's a player in the next one I'll talk about, but just like quick notes on some of the things that Shaun was saying, like Swift, yep. I think, absolutely correct. Like another smash spot. Offense is facing Miami or running the ball at the highest clip in the NFL right now. Like that is definitely a good opportunity for Swift again. Pass catching role is incredible. 11% of targets in 4 of his last 5 games. They allowed 106 yards. 106 yards to the Panthers last week. Miami did. I mean, I think Swift is an absolute top 5 play for sure. And then also, I just want to know, like, why so low as a collective on Raheem Mostert this week? I view him as a top 4 play until proven otherwise. I get it. The defensive matchup's not great, but like this is Mike McDaniel we're talking about, who's constantly scheming up his guys to succeed in areas where maybe we don't think that necessarily good of a matchup. Like I think McDaniel's just been so on his game this year. All it takes is 2 of those goofy red zone pass looks for Raheem Mostert, and then boom, he's riding off of the sunset as like a top 5 play this week. I think he deserves to be for me personally a top 5 running back play this week.
I don't know, guys are running backs have only rushed for 302 yards this season on the Eagles. They've been really good against the run, and the volume you never know. Is Jeff Wilson going to get in there? Is Salvin Ahmed going to get in there? Are we going to get some Tyreek Hill out of the backfield? Like I love Raheem. Everyone who follows this podcast knows that I love Raheem Mostert. It's a tough matchup, so that's why I hit the downgrade. That's really it. Nothing against him.
Yeah, I had a couple more notes on Mostert too. It's just a brutal matchup. The Eagles have barely given up 14 points a game to the running back position, so just under 50 yards a game and 2 total touchdowns on the ground. I know it's the Dolphins, but it's still pretty concerning. I also just think it's interesting, like, his split of points between like his 3 monster weeks and his 3 just kind of like pedestrian weeks. Weeks 2, 3, and 6, he averaged 35 points a game. Weeks 1, 4, and 5 was just over 11. So he's absolutely been a steal. I'm not, taking that away from him at all. But, with Jeff Wilson coming back, a tough matchup. Philly gives up the 6th most amount of points to wide receivers too, just over 40 points a game. I see them doing most of their damage through the air, so I'm a little skeptical with Raheem Mostert. I think he's probably right around the right spot. Yeah. Like I wouldn't move him by any means. He's obviously still being started, but it's a tough matchup. It's a really tough matchup. So I think there's a lot of forces against him this week there.
Nothing against him, and I know you had another guy you wanted to shout out to, Aidan, in the top 5, right?
I just want to say I love Kenneth Walker this week, dude. What an absolute dream matchup for him. For those that kind of gamble on him, like he's already been awesome. He's running back 10 on the year. Arizona's given up the 3rd most amount of points to running back positions on the year, so they're absolutely getting gashed. Kyron just averaged 8 yards a carry, 160 yards.
King. Get well.
Yeah.
King.
3 out of the last 4 rushers against the Arizona offense have gone for over 100 yards. The other one was Joe Mixon with 81, so not bad. Kenneth Walker's still looking for his first 100-yard game on the season, and I'd be willing to bet money that he does it this week. I think it is an absolute awesome matchup for him. His usage is actually only getting better, too. In week 3, the snap share got pretty close with him and Sharp. It was 51-43, and I think we were maybe thinking as a collective group, like we're starting to see that shift a little early unexpected. The last 2 weeks have been 71-24 and 76-24. So this guy's locked in as a bell cow running back. He's playing downs 1, 2, and 3. Tons of goal line touches. So no, I love him this week. I think running back 2 is very, very well justified.
Running back 11, I've got Isiah Pacheco. Running back 12, Bijan Robinson. I'm pretty high on B-Rob this week. Running back 13, Rhamondre. Running back 14, James Cook. Running back 15, Jerome Ford. Running back 16, Jahmyr Gibbs. Running back 17, Jonathan Taylor. Running back 18, Roschon Johnson. Running back 19, Rachaad White. And running back 20, Aidan's favorite, Alexander Mattison. So Pacheco's got a top 12 fantasy usage role. The Chargers can't stop the run. Game environment projects for points. Pacheco's been really a steal so far this season. He's an A. Keegan's going in to fix. I don't know if anyone knows. We have 3 13s, but
yeah, I know. I'm trying to help you out here
on
while
the
you're
fly.
going. I'm clear.
Yeah, thank you. And edit it too for people to go through the notes when they're going, and we appreciate you. Bijan Robinson, he's got a good role. He's had really good efficiency so far this season. Giants have given up the 3rd most rushing yards and rushing TDs to running backs this year. I love him in this matchup. Rhamondre Stevenson here against the Buffalo Bills. He's been a mid-range RB2 in terms of usage. Buffalo's defense has actually surrendered the 23rd. Buffalo's defense has actually surrendered 23 fantasy points per game to running backs this year. It's a good spot for Rhamondre. At 14 is James Cook. So he has mid-range RB2 level usage, much to the chagrin of this podcast, particularly Aidan and I in our group chat. He's looked really good when they give him the opportunities, but Latavius Murray continues to eat in his touches, and Latavius Murray continues to eat into his valuable touches, which is 3rd down, which is the goal line. It's a decent matchup against New England. Let's get James Cook the ball more. He looks good when he has the rock. At 15, Jerome Ford, I'm expecting a 60-40 split with Kareem Hunt. He looked great against San Francisco. Matchup upgrade versus a Grover Stewart-less Colts rush defense. 7 spots ahead of expected expert consensus rankings. I have Jahmyr Gibbs here at 16. Montgomery's out. Zonovan Knight's on IR. Craig Reynolds is banged up, right? He's going up against an average rush defense in the Baltimore Ravens who let big plays go off against Tyjae Spears and big plays go off against King Henry. If it was ever going to happen, this is the absolute smash spot for Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, he is nursing a hamstring injury. He's been limited in practice, so we'll see. But come on, this is the spot. Like, please, Jahmyr, please. Please, Dan Campbell, let's make this happen. We need this very much for the bag.
Josh
holders.
Reynolds, backfield touches.
It's Craig Reynolds. How dare you? Jonathan Taylor here.
No, the Josh Reynolds, because Craig Reynolds won't be playing.
Oh, dear God, dude.
Oh, my God. I think I just died inside. Running back 17, Jonathan Taylor. I'm expecting a 50-50 split with Moss. We saw JT get more share of the backfield than his first game. It's a bad matchup against a stout Cleveland run defense, but I don't really want to rate JT any lower here. The game script could flip to where JT is seeing volume in the pass game, and we all know with JT, we're 1 play away from hitting pay dirt. I've got Roschon Johnson here at 18, 2 spots ahead of rankings. He's still in concussion protocol. He might not exit this, so he might be somebody that you can't play this week. This is a bad game environment. We have backup QBs projected to play on both sides of the ball. Vegas has been decent against the run. He's going to split touches with Foreman, but I don't know, T-Bag kind of, Tyler Badgett, T-Bag, Tyson Badgett, T-Bag, the quarterback. He kind of seems like a guy that would throw 8 passes to Roschon Johnson. That's why I've got Roschon at 18. I've got Rachaad White here at 19. Elite usage, pretty meh efficiency, tough matchup. Is Rachaad White ever going to play a bad rush defense? Because all he does is play like the best rush defenses in the league, and he is not.
Every week it's like plus here, plus. Tough one for.
And can we get a bone here? Can we get a bone here? Because he's not good enough, and this run game is not good enough to overcome a good rush defense. And then at 20 is Alexander Mattison. Elite usage, meh efficiency. Tough matchup against an elite run defense in a meh game environment. So Mattison and Rachaad White are a perfect little duo to hang out right at the fringes of RB2 land. I'll stop there. Those 10 running backs, any thoughts, boys?
I don't beg often. Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell, wherever you guys are, like, there is nobody else to hand the football to. If we do not get Jahmyr Gibbs 15-plus touches this week and get him an RB2 at worst, I am going to lose it. It is not fair what you've done to us.
I'm going to be committed. I'm going to be committed if you can't get 15 touches.
It's like, I saw something on the Bird early today. Like, it's a lazy, like, argument to be like, there's literally no one else to give the ball to, but Who else are you getting in the ball
Ibrahim.
to? It is time.
It's Mo Ibrahim from Minnesota, the undrafted rookie.
You drafted this man 12th overall, and I better get at least 12 touches. Like, I'm going to freak out, man. It is time to unleash the beast that is Jahmyr Gibbs, man. I'll be sitting on my couch patiently until this goes south, and then I ride.
So the last game that D-Mont was out, Jahmyr Gibbs got 18 touches, but against that Falcons rush defense, it's really good. So
yeah,
this is a better matchup. This is a better matchup against Baltimore. Keegan?
Two guys I really, really like in this range this week are actually at the top part of this, but it's Isiah Pacheco and Bijan Robinson. I think Isiah Pacheco has a wonderful opportunity this week in the matchup against Los Angeles Chargers. His role is incredible, and this is a game environment that should produce a lot of scoring. You know, he's gotten 10 of the 12 Chiefs carries inside the 10-yard line this season.
Great role.
Chargers also have had 12 rushing attempts inside the 5-yard line against them, which is 6th most in the league. He's also had 62% of the snaps over the last 3 weeks. He's averaging 2.8 receptions per game, and last year he was averaging about 0.8 receptions per game. So his receiving work is way, way up compared to last year. He ran 39 routes from weeks 4 through 6. And Chiefs are projected for 27 points. You know, that's a lot of points to be had. I definitely think Isiah Pacheco finds his way into the end zone some way or another. And here's some notable receiving lines from running backs against the Chargers this year. Josh Jacobs went 8 for 81. Tony P went 6 for 80. And Mattison even had 5 catches for 32. You know, that's at the lowest 8 point. Hey, in PPR, that's 8.2 points.
Doggle Hunt, baby. And he dropped a walk-in touchdown. He dropped a walk-in touchdown. Oh, jeez.
But, obviously his receiving role and his, just overall role as a rusher, especially from inside the 5 and just, scoring opportunities for Isiah Pacheco is super stout. And then Bijan Robinson is another guy I like this week, and I, love that you have him so high in your rank this week. It's not that much higher than consensus, but still I do think he's a RB1 play this week. 2-point favorites against Giants, who are 6th worst in fantasy. Against fantasy running backs on the most running back carries per game against them. They're allowing the 2nd most rush yards game per year, almost 150 a game on the ground, and 3rd in rushing TDs allowed with 9 so far this year. They're also 31st in run stuff rate. And for listeners, that's runs that don't result in a first down or touchdown or less than 4 yards on first down or less than 3 yards on any other down. So essentially, run stuff rate is telling you that the Giants hardly ever stuff a runner from getting a first down or positive yards on any other down or touchdown. So I love the matchup for both of them. I think Brian and Isiah Pacheco are great starts this week and have an opportunity to put up some pretty healthy fantasy days. Oh, and a player I have in this range and also one out of this range, but they're on the same team. This is actually one of the only running backs that I want to highlight that I'm avoiding is the Colts. I'm back again, fading more Colts players. Surprise. Jonathan Taylor. This is not a good matchup.
Not a great one.
Cleveland defense has allowed only one running back to reach 11.5 PPR points in a single game this year, and it's Christian McCaffrey.
But he did get
Colts
hurt at half, so maybe.
Okay, but that still enforces my point, though. He is the only player to surpass that point total.
CMC
also, Colts implied total is 18 points this week. Cleveland's only allowed 3 rushing touchdowns this year. They're also last in the league in yards before contact per attempt. Rushers aren't getting anywhere. Yeah. They've only allowed they've allowed sub 400 rushing yards this year. They're only allowing 79 rush yards a game. And only Rhamondre Stevenson hit 5 receptions in a game against the Cleveland Browns this year. And Samaje, James Cook both saw 4 receptions against the Stephens. So touted receivers or running backs with good receiving profiles are not even able to get the receiving work going against Cleveland. They're good against stuffing the run. Jonathan Taylor has a good receiving profile. He's also a great runner, but this is a really bad matchup. And they've also yet to allow a receiving touchdown to running back this year. It's just not a good environment. Now, I can't advise you on a 6-week or a 6-team bye week to not start Jonathan Taylor. Yeah. I can't tell you to do that, but I am saying be wary of this matchup. And, I just threw Zack Moss in there as well, too. So
he's one.
Just want to point some stuff out.
He's one big play away. That's why you can't bench him. He's JT, but it's a tough matchup. for
now that he's at the 50-50 split too. Like, I'm curious how much that scale continues to shift. Obviously, game one was like, he barely touched the ball last week, 50-50. Does that increase to closer to 70-30, or does it stay closer to 50-50? Yeah. I think that kind of determines his ceiling even in a tough matchup. But yeah, this is a fun tier. I was wrong about Pacheco and B-Rob. They're both the lead guys, and I saw more of a committee on both of those teams, and they both proven me wrong. So
I had Pacheco last year, and he was pretty mid. He's been better. I don't know if he's incredible, but he adds a nice little element to the team. I still don't know if he's actually good or not, or if it's just him punishing light boxes.
He runs like he's on a stationary wheel.
I don't
he stole him like a child who stole a cell phone.
He literally he has everything is wasted movement. You know, where you watch Breece Hall and he doesn't. Literally none of it is wasted.
Zero.
And then you watch Isiah Pacheco and he's just juking out air, but it's just he gets the people going.
Their offense has been pretty bad too. I think weird. Like there's probably more meat on that bone too. Like, which is like even cooler. You're like, wow, this could get better. Like, it's been kind of ugly, but this could get
the
even
wide
better.
receiver committee is garbage. Okay, moving on here. The running backs 20 through 30. I've got Javonte Williams here at 21. Kareem Hunt at 22. I've got Christian McCaffrey here at 23. Obviously, if CMC plays, he is moving up. But just having here, hanging tight. He's hanging tight here at 23. 24, I've got Jaylen Warren. 25, Najee Harris. 26, Zack Moss. 27, Deontay Foreman. I have Deontay. Mr. Foreman of the Chicago Bears. Deontay Foreman. I have Jaleel McLaughlin at 28. Elijah Mitchell at 29. Justice Hill, 30. Just how we wrote it up, boys, heading into the year. Okay, so running back 21, just so we wrote it up. Jaleel Justice. It sounds like, I don't even know. Those are unreal names. Okay, so Javonte Williams at 21. He's the lead back in a three-headed committee. This is a bad run defense, so the matchup gives him an upgrade. I don't really want to rule him out there, but again, in a bye week, you're probably playing Javonte. Kareem Hunt at 22. Wednesday DMP. Did he practice today? I don't know. He's got a thigh contusion. I expect a 40-60 split with Jerome Ford. He looked great against San Francisco. I was shocked. He looked big, hard to tackle. He looked... I was blown away with how good Kareem Hunt was. We have a matchup upgrade here against a Grover Stewart-less Colts rush defense. Christian McCaffrey, again, would be RB1. The status is unknown. Jaylen Warren has outscored Najee Harris in PPR in every single game this season. It's basically a 50-50.
Can you say that one more time? I just want you to say it one more time for all the listeners who got mad at me, who trashed the Steelers.
Jaylen Warren has outscored Najee Harris in every single game in PPR. It's basically like a 50-50 split. But what's crazy, and I have Najee at 25 and Warren at 24, Najee's been fine. If you look at all his underlying metrics this year, his explosive run rate is up, his missed tackles force per attempt is up. He looks fine. He's just kind of like a huge slow back, but he has like a role in that offense. But it makes more sense if these two split touches. Like, his efficiency metrics are honestly like a little bit better than Warren, but Warren's really good as a wide receiver. I think Najee's more of a touchdown dependent play in a tougher matchup in a 50-50 timeshare, so I have him at 25. Zack Moss 26, borderline RB1 usage even with Jonathan Taylor back in the fold. But I'm expecting a 50-50 split against the best rush defense in the league. I'd start someone else. Deontay Foreman, I've got him 4 spots ahead of expert consensus rankings. If Johnson remains in concussion protocol, Deontay's going to start and see the bulk of the touches. We might see some Darrington Evans run like we did last week. I'm so sorry, Tyson Bagent and Darrington Evans. Aidan, this is not what you signed up for. Vegas has been pretty good against the run. He would split touches with Johnson. I don't know. He's TD dependent. McLaughlin's looked really good. He was the lead in the backfield in snaps, routes, and targets with Javonte back in week 6. It's a plus matchup against a bad Green Bay run defense. Can we just phase out Pirine? Because it would just make more sense if it was McLaughlin and Javonte moving forward. At 29... I've got Elijah Mitchell 8 spots ahead of expected expert consensus rankings. I got to get that right. It's not expected, Shaun. I project a 60-40 split between Mitchell and Mason if CMC doesn't go. Expect Mitchell to get even like 8+ carries, even if CMC plays. And then Justice Hill. Edwards is the lead back, but he's been more efficient on a per touch basis. So I think he could jump Edwards this week if he's involved in the pass game. But this is a brutal matchup against Detroit. So That's it. That's a poo-poo platter of 21 through 30. Do we want to skip to the next tier? Do we have any thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm down to skip to the next year, but I did have 2 questions for you guys. This is just like thought exercises. If you were down bad, this is my first one. If you were down bad and you needed an RB start of the committees right now, let's assume CMC doesn't play. Who do you play, Jordan Mason or Elijah Mitchell? In the SF scenario.
Mitchell.
Okay. That's good to know. I mean, Jordan Mason did look pretty good. I got to give him some credit. He did pretty well with his touches.
I really like JP Mason. That's his nickname. I'm a big fan. However,
nice.
I just think Mitchell's earned so much trust. I feel like he's just going to get the nod as the starter if he's healthy. But again,
I think that's
he's going to get 6 carries, and he's going to go for 35 yards, and then he's going to get subbed out, and we're going to get a report from Pam Oliver, and Pam's going to be like, Elijah Mitchell, guys, Niners aren't playing this game without him. He's out, knee injury. That's literally every single game Elijah Mitchell's played in the past like 8 weeks, 10 weeks.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's great.
Now, the other thought exercise is rest of season and this week. You could probably get them both on waivers right now. So if you were advising a listener of the mean team, who do you want rest of season, Justice Hill or Gus Edwards?
PPR. Gus.
I want to say my same answer I did to tight ends on waiver, but I won't. So I'm going to pick, and I will go with. I'll go with Gus. I don't think it matters though. Like I don't think either one of you is. I don't think either guy is giving you any significant contribution. So my answer would be look elsewhere.
Fair enough. Just want to go through the exercise. Like, those committee questions are such a huge thing to sift through. I honestly typically like Hill more than Edwards just because what he can do with the ball seems a bit more explosive. But
I like just saying Gus Bus too. I like the nickname. It's like the Gus Bus has left the station every time he picks up like 4 yards.
Yeah, but like this man, Justice Hill, looks really good. Then he fumbles on a screen pass. And you're like, brother, why did you get us offense off the field? They run 8 drives a game because they run so slow. I'm a Lamar owner lamenting here. Stop fumbling.
This tier's about to get special. I
think I might just rip this off. This is the sicko tier.
Just do them all. Yeah, just do them all.
Get through the last of them.
Again, my answer, Gus Edwards if the Ravens are projected to win big. Justice Hill if it's like a pick 'em or they're projected to lose. Okay, so I have Gus Edwards here, running back 31. A.J. Dillon at 32. Zach Evans makes an appearance here for the Rams at 33.
Let's go.
Keaontay Ingram at 34. Latavius Murray at 35, Tyler Algier at 36, Jeff Wilson Jr., if you're still following along at home, 37, Jordan Mason, 38, Ezekiel Elliot, 39, 40, Jerick McKinnon, 41, Craig Reynolds, 42, Darrell Henderson Jr., Antonio Gibson at 43, and Zach Charbonnet at 44, and then Emari Demercado at 45. So this is, again, the sicko tier here, fellas. Gus Edwards, again, he's the 1A, but this defense they're going up against the Lions has been pretty much the stingiest defense to running backs this year. I would leave him on the bench. A.J. Dillon, he's going to see his usual 5 to 10 touches. He's going to see his usual 3 yards per carry, but this is a plus matchup against a bad Denver defense. He's not been good this year, but he's TD dependent. You could be in a worse spot. Zach Evans, so I'm actually -5 spots on Zach Evans against DCR. He's probably going to get the first crack at the job, but this kind of smells like Emari Demercado. I think he's not going to be very good in pass pro, and I think McVay is going to ride with people he trusts. I spent more time thinking about Keaontay Ingram today than I think I should have ever done in my entire life. So he's second in snaps to Demercado, but he was first in touches and expected fantasy points. He's the lead back in a 3-headed backfield. In most likely a negative game script, this is a good matchup against a beatable Seattle front, but Ingram is my preferred option for the Cardinals this week. Latavius Murray, 1B, could get some goal line work. Your fingers crossed he stumbles in the end zone to get you to like 11 fantasy points. Tyler Algier, it's the same deal. TD dependent desperation flex play. Jeff Wilson, I think he gets like 5 to 8 touches. Don't start Jeff Wilson. Jordan Mason's interesting. So if CMC does not play, Jordan Mason, I think he'll get 40% of the touches. They might ride the hot hand. You could move him up to like 32 potentially, with Elijah Mitchell being a borderline RB2. I have Zeke here at 39. it's more of the same shit, guys. TD dependent, 1B option to Rhamondre Stevenson. I've got Jerick McKinnon here at 40. So this one's interesting. He's not been very involved in the offense on a per snap basis, but he's still demanded close to an 8% target rate. LAC, the Chargers have given up the 4th most receiving yards to running backs this season. Keegan already hit on it. It's a risky dart throw, but, Craig Reynolds, 41, -5 against expert consensus rankings. Expect him to have a role if he's healthy enough to practice this week. He's kind of a mystery. The last time we projected him to have a decent role, he literally got like 3 touches, and Jahmyr Gibbs took the lion's share of the touches. Darrell Henderson, I have him up 31 spots out of all running backs and wide receivers I ranked this week. He is the highest mover. And that shows you something when you're at 42 and you move 31 spots. He knows the system, and he has Sean McVay's trust in all situations. He's probably a dust ball, but he's a dust ball that McVay likes nonetheless. And then last but not least, Antonio Gibson, Zach Charbonnet, and Emari Demercado. Antonio Gibson, if you play him this week, straight to jail right away. Zach Charbonnet, he's an afterthought in this point, but maybe, this game gets out of hand and he hasn't practiced this week. I don't know. Don't play Zach Charbonnet. And then Emari Demercado, he ran the most routes of any RB on the Cardinals, and he was the lead back in terms of snaps. He would need to see a good chunk of volume in the pass game to be playable, but the game script, it may allow it, boys. So that's it. That's your DeGen final list here. Any thoughts before we jump on this poo-poo platter of just disgusting running backs? I guess Zach Evans. A lot of people are starting Zach Evans.
Zach Evans.
And I'm pretty low. I'm pretty low on this. I almost had to rank Royce Freeman, and I didn't want to do it.
It was cool before they made all the running back moves.
Wasn't a good sign.
It was looking like my best ball bag was in good hands. But then we decided to add no, it's a nightmare there. I also want to flag
all this talk. It's just going to be Myles Gaskin that takes the lead
he's
role
the worst
this
one. If he gets meaningful touches, we might put him in jail for the first time.
He couldn't even get touches
in Minnesota
in front of Alexander Mattison, dude.
And
that's how fantasy works.
And that
baby.
guy's
that's
not
how fantasy
good.
works.
I also just want to say
Everything
AJ
you want to
Dillon's
happen
days
won't
are
happen.
numbered. They just signed James Robinson. Do you know how bad you got to be as the backup running back for them to be like James Robinson after like multiple career-ending injuries might be better than you? So AJ Dillon, your days are numbered, pal.
You said that like you've got a vendetta against him, dude. All he wants to do is play his farm simulator and enjoy himself, dude. Let him be.
That was
Whatever.
insane.
Yeah.
The farm shit was nuts.
At like midnight.
No,
he's just
I've got
vibing.
no thoughts.
No thoughts?
I've got no thoughts in this ranking. These are
Just get ready for
poo-poo of the
If you
poo-poo.
start Zach Evans this week and it works out for you, please drop a comment.
Send us a
Please drop
screenshot.
a comment.
I want to see. Yeah,
I lost all my bids for him, and I woke up in a cold sweat. I couldn't believe it.
It just reeks of like 7 carries for 38 yards, maybe 3 catches for 14 yards. That's it. Maybe
One
like
touchdown.
8 fantasy points.
and
One touchdown.
I think that Darrell Henderson is going to get way more touches.
all this talk has just reaffirmed my point from our wide receiver episode
receivers.
that we did.
Wide
that
receivers.
Puka and Cooper Cup are smash plays this weekend.
Feels pretty good.
But that'll do it.
Feels good. That'll do it.
Big
Episode
mood.
100 was a quick one, fellas. Anything to drop to the mean team before we jump?
100 episodes is so cool, Shaun.
So
I just
cool.
want to give you a big round of applause. And for the listeners that don't know, Shaun does a lot of work to make
He's
this
a
what
star.
it is. So
Oh, stop it.
if you enjoy Regression of the Mean and you like our content and you enjoy supporting us, like, make sure you say thank you to Shaun. Just give Shaun a quick thank you, Shaun, in the comments.
Or say fuck you,
and let him know
Sean.
you appreciate him.
Keep
Zach
interacting.
Evans
Keep
is the
interacting.
top 10 play this week. Gobble my gooch. Maybe they'll say that too.
That'll be my burner
That works
YouTube.
too.
Yeah,
That's my
that'll
burner
be-
YouTube account.
This is the last episode I ever record. I tragically die, and the last thing I say on it is gobble my gooch.
Don't say that.
Oh, that's only
Famous
if Gibbs
last
doesn't get 10
words.
touches. Only if Gibbs doesn't get 10 touches. Do I die.
Seriously, this was a great weekend to say, "Hey, babe, I love you. Let's go do something on Sunday," and then have a
Go to
nice
the pumpkin
have a
patch.
nice
Go
day,
to the
and then
pumpkin
make
patch.
sure you're back by 5 p.m. And then you get to rip a fantastic Sunday night game. You got Al, and I'm sorry, you got Chris, you got Mike Tirico, you got the Dolphins, you got the Eagles.
Carey.
Yeah, you got Carey. Now here's a guy. Here's a guy.
Here's a
It's gonna be unbelievable. But thank you everybody for tuning in, and until next time.